love this time of day. The western sun is coming in the window, so I can work on my glass mat without having to have the ring light on. Hi, this is Kelly from Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and today, for Timmy Tag Tuesday, Christmas in July, we're going to work on the slotted tag that he did in class. Now let me wipe my glass mat off here really quick. I was sampling. Before I move to that though, I don't know if anybody noticed last week, but I had forgot to put the words on the tag. Now I am going to have to go back and glue those down because they are not sticking to that tag whatsoever. In fact, I had lost the word Christmas at some point, so I'm going to have to go back and glue those later. But today we're working on the Timmy pocket tag. Now I have a favor to ask before we get started. I want you to tell me if you think my voice sounds funny or if I trip over words. And I really need your input on this, so I hope you'll do that. First thing we're doing is we're using the slotted tag, the mini distresser, and the ink color, and I got iced spruce. And I think everybody got the iced spruce, I'm not sure. But I have to do things a little differently than Timmy. He suggests turning your tag without lifting your sponge, and I can't do that. I wind up with a big glob somewhere. But I am getting better at starting on the edge and using my little circular motions and coming in and adding my color. Now how he got so much color added without going back to his ink pad, I'm not sure. But I have to turn this, I have to lift this and turn it, and I'm okay with that. Do what works for you. That's one of the first things Tim tells us, everybody, is to do what works for you. And now that I've got ink around the edge here, then I can come back around, pull that in, and add more color into the center. I'm not crazy about the squeaky. Tim and Mario love the squeaky, but it's not my favorite thing. So bear with me as this squeaks. Turn your volume down if you need to. I don't feel like I'm getting enough color in that top, so I'm going to come back and I'm going to pull some more in from this side. And then come back in and pull it in. Now see, I had a water droplet there from where I hadn't cleaned off my sponge, or cleaned off my cart, and I'm already getting the water droplets that we're going to do here in just a minute. Pull those in. Now we won't see a lot of the bars here because we're going to cover that up, but I do want to add some of the water droplets, and this is where I get a little off. The idea is just to get you some drops, not a mist, just make it rain on your card, not all over your desk. So you're going to squeeze really lightly and just make it rain. And of course, my rain is going everywhere but where I want. And you don't want pools. You just want it like it rained on your tag, not a mist. And some people will take this and do this number with their fingers. And I think in some ways that works a lot better. And then you're going to come back with your towel and do up your water droplets and get your excess off of there. And then as it dries, those water droplets are going to react with that. See, I've got them on this tag over here. So, yeah, a little bit extra. But as this dries, those water droplets will create a different effect. You can see it where it was down here, where the water droplets were on the card when I brought the ink in. Okay, so we have that part. Now, the other thing I had to do was I went through the ephemera pack and the layers because I wanted some of the chipboards, but I also wanted some of the smaller stuff. And before we do that, we're going to take our glue, and that tag I got accidentally wet, we'll dry it off, just like that. And we're going to take and run a bead of glue. Gee, I am way off tarp here, aren't I? Run a bead of glue around the edge, just around the edge. Just like this. Now I could have done the other one and pulled this in behind instead of the other way around. But that's fine, it's all still going to work. And then we're going to mash these two up. Just like that. I had to move my camera yesterday for something. And now I'm having a heck of a time getting it back in the perfect position. And then we're just going to press that in place with our towel. And our tag is glued together. Now the fun begins. Now I'm going to try and leave this up here. In fact, to make sure that I do, let me grab a piece of washi. Because for some reason I'm just not quite where I need to be. So I'm going to run this down here. So I know I need to stay above this washi tape line. So I stay in camera, because I'm going to sit down and I am not going to be watching where I'm at. So, as I said, I've pulled stuff from ephemera and from layers. Some of the layer stuff I wanted because I wanted a little stiffer, but there were some things in the paper that I wanted as well. And all you're going to do is you're going to start filling your pockets. Now you want to make sure that you go directly behind all of them when you're starting from the top and working down. Don't basket weave them in or you're going to cover up your slots. The other thing that he did, and he used the Christmas Santas, and we got to use the glitter crystals, the snow glitter. And so I did these about a week ago so they'd be dry and ready for this video. And I'm going to use this Santa today, I think. And you're going to start with your top layer and your biggest item. And you're just going to weave that in. Now if you need to pucker it up a little bit to get that to slide in, that'll work. You can also use, where did it go? Your pokey tool. And kind of lift that up a little bit if you need to. Same way with going down behind the bottom. Use your pokey tool to lift it up a little bit. And then we've got Santa tucked in there. Okay. And then I have some of these other things. I liked the candy cane. And see, once you get him in there, the other things kind of seem to stay where they're supposed to be. And I pulled this, but I'm going to save it for a minute, and I'll show you what we're going to do with this. So I'm going to lay it off to the side. And of course, when I was looking to do those Santas the other day, I couldn't find the one that Tim used. But I'm okay with that. I'll have him for another project. No piggy. I love these little Christmas tags. These were like the ones that I remember growing up from the 60s and the 70s. And there's several designs in there. This one I know we had, the snowman with the puppies. I know we had that one. But I'm going to start you're just going to start playing with your items. Tucking stuff in. So that things... Now with my tremors, this is a little bit of a challenge. But I'm going to work with it. I also love the milk cap, the Season's Greetings milk cap. But I don't want to put that one in there yet. And they don't have to go right side up or anything. You just want to make sure that everything's going in. Just like that. Now I had pulled a couple of these big ones, but they're going to be too big for this. So we're going to lay them aside. Bright Star Christmas, again, I think is going to be too big, but I'm going to try taking it down here and see what happens. Because I don't want to hide my Santa. That's the important thing. We don't want to hide the Santa. But I also like this one. Let's take this one out. Oh, let's use the holiday popcorn balls. I love this one. This was a tradition in our family growing up of making popcorn balls for Christmas. I think we're going to tuck it in this one because I've got... See, and I'm trying not to catch that glitter in there because it wants to catch and not let my tags go through. So let's tuck that one in there. Let's see, we used a Christmas tag. We also have some of this stuff here. Now this is going to be too big. So we're going to lay it. This one's going to be too big. I also have the little things like Believe. Can get tucked in there. Now this one of the things he suggested is you could use it for gift tags. for gift cards. And, you know, like put it around a wine bottle or tuck it in a stocking, hang it on the tree, whatever. And I happen to have this one from Walmart that says Happy Holidays, and I have this green one from Starbucks. Oh, and if you get a chance, go back and watch his video, because he has an entire collection of Starbucks gift cards going back to the 20s. He probably has close to 600 of them, I think he said. That's amazing. Now see, this wants to catch on that snow, so I'm gonna pull these out, and I think they're gonna go down a slot. And let's go ahead, pucker this up, and make that Starbucks gift card go in there. And I like the green, and I'm going to tell you why I use the green here in a minute. Then we can come back with the popcorn balls. Let's go this way. And I like this one, the Season's Greetings. I like that in there. And you can go back and forth. You can pull things out, put things back in. I still want to use this little gift tag thing here, so let's put it in there. Season's Greetings, 5 cents. Now this is a paper ephemera, so it's a little bit has more give to it, so you want to be careful with that. I didn't put Believe back in there. Oh, the one thing I didn't do that he suggested was when they start pulling everything out, you don't want them left blank, so you want to put something in the back here that, you know, kind of leaves them something. So I'm going to put, I had a couple of things pulled out here, but I think I'm going to put this Santa right across the back, and we're just going to go ahead and glue him in while we're there. I didn't get very many comments on my video from yesterday on the December daily. I'm really looking for your input on that one. So if you would go back and watch yesterday's video for me, I'd really appreciate it. I'm just going to lift him up instead of putting everything away. I'm going to lift that up and glue him in just like that. And then that way when they start pulling something out, they're not left with a blank card in the background. So there's that one. I'm going to put Wish down here because I want to tuck this one right there. And you can pull stuff out, play with it, do whatever trips your trigger. And I'm going to have to go back through and sort everything because I have an idea. And see, I still need something here. So let's tuck in there. And we don't want to hide our wish. And we want to pull that up. And see, then you want to start pulling stuff out and see what's back there. Now, I still need something up in this pocket. And I don't want to hide Santa. So I think I'm going to tuck this one in there. That's almost too much, but it's really small in there. No, I don't want to do that one. In fact, let's take this one out and let's tuck this one in there. And I'm not going to use that one. That one's too big. Not going to use a wreath, though a little bit of greenery tucked in here would be nice. And you're not limited to just a couple of things in a pocket. You can put in as many things as that pocket will hold. Now, I put this in here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll bring a clip out for him in a minute. Now, Heidi had a blast with this. I loved watching Heidi play. But she used some of her tape. I'm going to see if there's a right or a wrong side here. Because I want to use, this is it. There we go. I want to use some of the sellotape up here. And I'm going to tack it right over top of that Christmas tree in the back. Okay, now, I told you I had an idea for this. See, I've got the greenery going in here. I want to put this down at the bottom. And so I'm going to go ahead and just run a bead of my glue right across there. Now, my timer's going to go off in a minute, but that's okay because we're just about done. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to run that up there. And that's going to give me a border. Okay. And he also suggested using some of the Christmas words. Let me get some of this other stuff out of my way. Really quick. This is the one that I want to use down here. And I don't need these. And I don't need the stamp or the confectionery. Put those over there. Santa's Workshop. I think I'm pretty full in there. So I'm going to tuck those out of the way. And then I'm going to put this right there. And it's going to get glued down. And I could have also put these on the dimensionals, but I didn't bring them over here to the table. But I'm going to put that right there. And you know what? I think I am going to grab one of my dimensionals. I don't have one of Timmy's, but I'm over here handy. But I'm going to grab one of mine. Here comes Tabby to help. Grab one of my dimensionals really quick. My pokey tool. Scared me to death, Tabby. Of course, I have the window open, so guess where Tabby wants to go? She needs to go over there instead of over. Her favorite place to lay is on the Joey over here. And then I'm going to put him right there. I think that works. And now all I have to do is come back and flip this over, trim my tag off. Now, if I was putting this in a pocket, I'd probably want to either rearrange that piece of greenery, or I could just I could trim it off. But I'm going to leave it the way it is. I'm going to pull Santa up a little bit because we don't necessarily need the tag. And that is our tag for Tag Tuesday, Christmas in July with Tim Holtz. Thanks for joining me in the studio today. Please remember to like, to share, subscribe. Leave me comments down below. Have you tried the pockets? I'd love to hear from you. Creative Christmas blessings.